Hey guys, welcome to Talk Wrestling here on NoDQ.com, the entire NoDQ YouTube network, and wherever else you're watching this show. Let's get right to it here. These are from Twitter today. The first one comes from The Last Lulu. Hey Jeff, what's your opinion about the liberty of speech in WWE ring nowadays? Paul Heyman seems very real with the mic in his hand. I'm not sure what you're asking me. I read this question a couple times before I went on the air here. I'm not really sure what you're asking me. I think you're trying to say, you know, as far as the liberties that the guys take when they're doing promos now. And Paul has no barrier, clearly. He kind of goes where he wants to go. I'm sure there's a governor on him. I'm sure there's some sort of ultimate thing he can't say when he's cutting a promo about Seth or whoever Brock is facing, Undertaker, whoever Brock is facing that day. But Paul seems to kind of have a open thread there and just go, hey, do what you need to do, but don't go too crazy. And he doesn't, and he's awesome. Other guys, you know, I would die of happiness if we didn't have to sit through one more Seth Rollins opening show 20-minute promo. And it's very reminiscent of Hunter 15 years ago, where he would open every single show one way or the other with a promo that would take forever and go like this. Oh my God. Horrible. And Rollins is nowhere near as good a promo guy as Triple H, and he just drains on and on and on. It's horrible. Just horrible. And, you know, so that guy having a liberty with his, free liberty with his promos is not a good thing, in my personal opinion. Again, it's my show, it's my opinion. But a guy like Paul Heyman having free reign to say what he wants is definitely beneficial to Brock Lesnar, to Paul Heyman himself, and to the show direction overall, because he'll say and make something happen where the direction of the match, direction of the promo, direction of the storyline will go leaps and bounds from where it was. At Ricky Lawson, what do you think of Kurt Angle versus Undertaker at No Way 2006? Personally, I think it should have been a streak match. Yeah, I tend to agree with that, only because the streak match that year was Mark Henry in a casket match, and that wasn't good. But Kurt Angle and Undertaker from that year, No Way Out, was arguably their best match. They had a few matches. They had a couple in 2002, and they had a couple in 2006. But I think that their match at No Way Out was just beauty. It was so well done, so well mapped out, so well laid out, and so well executed and complete from start to finish. It just worked. And I think that match being on the card at WrestleMania as opposed to Undertaker Mark Henry would have worked. However, the feel-good story of Rey Mysterio winning the World Championship at WrestleMania would never have happened if they'd gone that way. So you have to look at it from that point of view too. Rey Mysterio needed that main event elevation. As much as I don't like that it happened personally, because I feel they exploited Guerrero's death in that case, Rey Mysterio needed the elevation. He got it from winning the World title at WrestleMania. He got it from winning the Royal Rumble that year. So Undertaker Angle happening at WrestleMania would have completely negated the whole feel-good, oh my God, he did it for Eddie's story at WrestleMania for Rey Mysterio, and it wouldn't have worked out in company booking overall. So that's why that didn't happen. Ricky's other question is, hey Jeff, what do you think of Shawn Michaels' heel turn in 2005, and do you think it should have been longer? I think it should have happened at all. From what I am told, the whole thing with Michaels and Hogan was Hogan directed. Hogan asked Shawn to turn heel. Originally it was supposed to be just good guy versus good guy, and, you know, may the best man win. And I guess Hulk felt that Shawn working as a heel would be a better direction for that story to take, which I completely disagree with. I think it would have been the best of the 80s versus the best of the 90s, and it just would have been a great story in and of itself, just the best of one era versus the best of another era. let's see who can win the match. And that way, when Hogan did win, it was much more of a feel-good moment than just he beat the latest bad guy, because Shawn Michaels was a bad man because he kicked me in the head and he kicked Roddy Piper in the jaw and he kicked Gary Lawler, and he's just a bad person. No, Shawn Michaels by then was not a bad person. Shawn Michaels was an awesome person by then. Shawn Michaels had become born again. He worked. And for him to have to turn bad at the request of Hogan was bullshit. Complete bullshit. And it didn't work. I didn't like it. I liked the match because Michaels carried Hogan to the entire match, but the overall direction of the story, it was just, I didn't like it at all. This is from @mjohnson276. Hi, Jeff. I've seen your interview with Terry Runnels. She seems nice. What are your thoughts on her career? I thought Terry made a pretty good dent in the history of WWE. She and WCW. She was out in New York and WCW for a while before she moved on to WWE with Dustin. Terry is one of those people where you would never know, based on seeing her on TV, how sweet she really was. But she was just a sweetest peach. She was so nice to us. She took the phone interview we did. I did the interview in the kitchen in this house. It was so funny. We had the dogs barking. It was freaking awesome. It was crazy how well it went. But she's awesome. Her career was great. She never really was the top diva. She was a top diva, but she was never the top diva, in that she was the women's champion. She was hardcore champion for a cup of coffee, or briefly on a Raw, if you remember. She pinned, I think she pinned Stevie, and Stevie pinned her back, if I remember right. But she never really won the Divas Championship, the Women's Championship, because she didn't have to. She was not a women's wrestler. She was a diva, and she filled that role to perfection. She was awesome. This is from @SonesAaron. I think his name is Aaron Sones, so he just puts his name backwards. Who is your favorite rival of John Cena's? Mine would have to be Edge in the Rivalry 2006. Thanks. I would have to agree with that. John Cena's rivalries have been the straw that stirs the cup at WWE over the last 10 years. And that feud with Edge early on in 2006, and even going into early 2006 with the Money in the Bank cash, and all the way through to Unforgiven that year, was just some of the greatest storytelling they ever did in that era. They had a Money in the Bank cash-in. They had a rematch at the Rumble. They had the triple threat match with Rob Van Dam. They had a match at SummerSlam. They had the match at Unforgiven. They had a match at Saturday Night's Main Event, I think. And they told a beautiful story. And people were already getting sick of John. It was already happening. Even I legitimately, and I will not hesitate to say this, I cried when Edge cashed in Money in the Bank to become the WWE Champion. I was so happy for him, and so happy that he had accomplished a dream that he had set forward on, whatever it was, 16 years prior, when he saw WrestleMania 6 live. Edge was great, and I think he complimented John at a time that John really needed that other rivalry, that the yin to the yang, the black to the white, if you will. He needed somebody that could really work with him like that, and Edge just was awesome at that. He went right from the Matt Hardy thing right into a main event spot, and he just did it so well. I was so happy for both of them that they got that opportunity. Last one today comes from @Bruce Grover Jr. What would be your dream commentary team to call one match? Mine would be Gorilla Monsoon, Bobby the Brain Heenan, and Jim Ross. Answer in video, please. Thanks. Like I said, Bruce, I usually don't answer in video if you ask me to answer in video, but your question intrigued me, so I'm going to go ahead and use it. I'd like to see, personally, it's just me, we never got at WrestleMania Vince and Jesse Ventura. It was always Gorilla and Jesse at WrestleMania. Or Jesse and somebody else, and Gorilla and somebody else. It was never Vince and Jesse. I could see that. I'd like to see Jim Ross and Bobby Heenan, just the two of them. I could see that. And without Macho Man. Because Macho Man was great, but he was so over the top. He was over the place. He was up in outer space. He was crazy. JR be a good play-by-play. Bobby be the good analyst. What I'd like to see is a true analyst. I'd like to see Jim Ross, and JBL. That's my dream team right there. JR and JBL. Those would be the top commentary team, I would think, to call a match in WWE. As far as other guys, I can see Joey Styles come back and do a couple things. Joey Styles would be a good play-by-play guy with JBL, but I think JR would complement JBL better. That's just what I think. All right, that's going to do it for this week. I know it's a short show. Sorry about that, guys. I ran out of material. Thank you guys so much for watching, as you do every week here on NoDQ.com and, of course, on the NoDQ YouTube channel. You can find that at NoDQCAW. You can find me on Twitter at _Jeff Meacham, on Instagram at _Jeff Meacham. If you dare, go to my Facebook. It's just Jeff Meacham. You can message me there. I won't friend you back, because I don't friend anybody I don't know. But I will take your questions on there, and I will definitely save it for you. All right, guys. We'll see you next time.